Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandar from All Good Prabhupada.
Hmm.
So how are you, Prabhu? Hope everything fine. Actually, I joined after a long time.
Yeah, very nice to hear your voice.
I have one question, Prabhu. Just generic question. I think it's many times it has been discussed in the class, but just I think it will be good to hear again. So just a question, Prabhu. If one joins a full time, so it usually when the initial stages we are very much enthusiastic to serve, and again we will be associating with the devotees, and usually, but I seen in some cases, but some cases like some who serve full time for long time also, they sometimes usually the enthusiasm should increase, and he should means he should be developing taste to serve. But why it happens other way, Prabhu? So that's why my question. Sometimes the taste decreases or taste to serve the deities, and the service decreases. Why it happens, Prabhu? What could be the reasons?
So it could be that, person may not be doing the sadhana properly. Especially if he doesn't do the morning program very seriously, then also his enthusiasm will slacken, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Especially if he doesn't wake up in the morning, Mangalarati, and attend the full program, and then you can see that he's, becomes a little bit complacent. So
Yes.
that's where you have the stronger devotees to help out, You understand?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, right.
So sometimes they come and then they very enthusiastic initially, they will do all the things. And then as they go by, they compromise, little bit. Eventually, you see that maybe they will not go for the full program. They will do 2 times a week or 3 times a week. And like that, they cut down and, try to become more, I would say, enjoying the material facilities, increasing their eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Then actually the anarthas will creep in again. Yes. Hello.
Yes, Prabhu. Very nice, Prabhu. Yes, that's right. Very nice.
That's why devotees must be very alert. No, they must always be careful not to get Maya to come in. Especially if you have dedicated your life, then there may be times where you don't have much to do, or you don't have a proper service, Then you start thinking that maybe I should go and work outside or something, You understand?
Yes, Prabhu. Right.
But if you are engaged full on, then there's no question of Maya. So much to do, always busy, helping out, pushing. Yes, that's why the devotee, they must be very careful if the enthusiasm goes down, no? Utsaha nishchaya dharya tat karma pravartanat, So to keep enthusiasm always, then we have to become very serious in our regulative principles, our sadhana. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
For householder, this is the biggest challenge, Yes, especially with children. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Correct.
Yes.
One day everything is okay. One day everything goes upside down. Correct. Yes.
Yes,
What do you
Prabhu.
say?
Yes, Prabhu. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me your realization.
Yes, yes, I can see. I can see that that's the realization, Prabhu. But yeah, if we attend the full morning program and if our sadhana is right too, so actually we can feel that our mind doesn't go anywhere else. That's my realization, Prabhu. After joining full time and serving the deities also directly, so I can see that it is actually. I can see that's a. I can feel a lot of difference while I was alone in the city, separate from the temple, and after joining the temple, I can see the difference.
Mm. That's why in the temple, together we help, Everyone is helping each other, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
And when you got service to do, you cannot sleep what, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
That's why deity worship is so important. Yeah. So devotees, they go, wake up, they do their deity program. You can see how much strength they're getting day by day. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm? Is it not? Hmm?
Absolutely, Prabhu. Yes.
Hmm. That's why Prabhupada explained that we should, we should all have to stay near the temple, That's what Prabhupada wanted, no? Prabhupada wanted everybody to stay near the temple so they can attend the program, no? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Now you are feeling it because you are now staying near the temple and you can see that how you're getting strength compared to you staying alone, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Correct?
Yes, yes.
Why it's acharyas, they know how to fight Maya, Correct?
Yes.
If you don't follow, then you'll be very difficult to make advancement.
Yes, Prabhu.
Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So that's why now you should teach all the others how much you can make progress by going to the temple, staying with the devotees. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu. But just a follow-up question, Prabhu, on this one.
Hmm.
So yeah, staying in a temple as a full time is very nice. But another thing is that you associate directly with the devotees. Sometimes, if you are very newly and out of false ego, you sometimes create offenses to the devotees. So that is also there. So in that case, also our devotional service, our will decrease, right, too, or our attachment to the service also will
No,
decrease.
there's no in the morning, you're all bowing down
Yes.
to the devotees, no?
Yes,
Correct?
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
You're paying obeisances, is it not?
Yes.
So that way you always, protected, no? Because you're humbling down, no?
Yes.
Correct. So you want to read this?
Especially for the householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu, forms like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayana, or Sita Rama, especially, or any other form of the Lord like Narsimha, Varaha, Gauranitai, Matsya, Kurma, Salagrama, Sila, and many other forms of Vishnu like Trivikrama, Kesava, Achyuta, Vasudeva, Narayana, and Damodara, as they are recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas. And one should worship the deity with one's family, following the directions and regulations of Archana Vedi. Any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, and all the members of the household should be engaged in the daily service of the Lord, beginning from morning 4 a.m. till night 10 p.m. by performing Mangalarti, Nirajana, Archana, Puja, Kirtana, Sringara, Bhoga Vaikalik, Sandhya Arti, Patha, Bhoga at night, Sayana Arti, engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas the archana process is practical. Spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge, and that is the guaranteed way for attainment of spiritual perfection. Hmm. The training of devotional service, yes, Prabhu. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress on the path back home, back to Godhead. One should become a pseudo spiritual master as a master of business to meet one's family expenditures. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master, and one of the verses in the description reads, Sri Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Sringara Tanmandira Marjanadau Yuktasya Bhaktam Sha Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Sri Charana Aravindam. Sri Vigraha is the archa or suitable worshipful form of the Lord, and the disciples should be engaged in worshipping the deity regularly by Sringara, proper decoration and dressing, as also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual master teaches the neophyte devotee all these kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of the transcendental name, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan and spiritual instructions from scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios. If one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another temple where all the above performances are regularly executed. Visiting the temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well dressed in a well decorated, sanctified temple, naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. People should visit holy places like Vrindavana, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men, like kings and rich merchants, constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees of the Lord, like the six Goswamis, and it is the duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotee Anuvraja. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in mind, but one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord and be guided by proper men who know the science. This is called Anuvraja. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in that way is as good as standing tree condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the
I
human
lost him,
being.
no? Hello.
Okay. Can you not
Hello.
hear me, Prabhu? Prabhu? Hare Krishna, Prabhu?
Can you
Okay.
please continue reading?
One who does not move in that way is as good as a standing tree condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by great acharyas and thereby not being misled by the atheistic propaganda of money making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters.
So you can see how Prabhupada is guiding, no?
Yes,
Because
Prabhu.
the real thing is that, that one should do deity worship, no?
Yes,
Right?
Prabhu.
That's what Prabhupada is saying here, no? Recommended the householders, do deity worship,
Hmm.
strongly recommended is here. Hmm?
Yes.
So if you want to get this enthusiasm, the deity worship is very important,
Hmm.
At the same time, associating with devotees, there's 5 things that we have to do every day, no? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
But that is worshipping the Lord, no? Reading, hearing the Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna. Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
these 5 things and staying in the holy place, they're very important, because if you do that, then you get purified, no? And that's what our morning program comprises of, no? Right?
Yes, Prabhu. Right.
One should associate with devotees. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. These 5 limbs of devotional service are best of all. Even a slight performance of these 5 awakens love for Krishna. See this point. That's why our morning program has got this worshipping the Lord, correct? Chanting Hare Krishna. You sit down and do japa. Then we hear the Bhagavatam. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Correct. And of course, the temple is considered as Vaikuntha. So when we do these 5 things, associate with devotees, then our spiritual life is set. Even a slight performance of this, immediately our love for Krishna is awakened. So love of Krishna means that we get always enthusiasm,
Yes,
correct?
Prabhu.
So if you are finding yourself weakening in this, that means there's something not done properly, no?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, right.
Correct. Usually in my experiences, because the person don't come for the morning program,
Yes.
then you can see he gets into a lot of problems.
So all these 5 things are covered in the morning program. You can see.
Correct. So that's why Prabhupada has given now all the morning program, correct? We are associating devotees, we are chanting Hare Krishna together, we are having Srimad Bhagavatam class, we are in the temple, and we are worshipping Krishna. Yes?
Yes.
So if you do this, then sincerely, then there's no question of getting into Maya. Of course, you must always take Krishna Prasadam. You eat anything and everything, then that's another problem, no? Correct? Yes or not?
Yes, Prabhu.
And then you know, even it says in the Prabhupada, we have many times quoted this verse, no? And that one we failed to do this morning program, huh? Right? Anyone want to read this?
From this, we can understand how we have to be very cautious in executing our spiritual duties by observing the rules and regulations and regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If we neglect doing this, we will eventually fall down. We must rise early in the morning, bath, attend Mangalarti, worship the deities, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, study the Vedic literatures, and follow all the rules prescribed by the acharyas and the spiritual master. If we deviate from this process, we may fall down, even though we may be very highly advanced.
Yeah. There's also all this inside the 5 things that we discussed, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
So when you don't do this, then you become weak, no? Then gradually material desires will come into the heart, no? Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Then fall down is inevitable. So as devotees, we should be always be alert. You know. Yes. Hello.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, clear, Prabhu. Clear, everything clear.
Any other questions? Nobody have questions, huh? So therefore, spiritual life is like walking on a razor's edge, you know. We make one slip and we will fall down, you know. Correct? Yes? Hmm? And of course, we should also preach, you know. Preaching is very important. Whatever we have realized, we should try to explain that, you know. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, no, Yare Deka Tareka Krishna Upadesh, correct? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction is that you first learn this and then you preach. Yes? Hmm? Is it not? Hello?
Yes, Prabhu.
Nobody is saying anything. Huh? Are they there? 28 people are here. See only you talking. Huh? Nobody else is talking. What, we have offended everybody or something? Huh? Everybody is very angry or something. What happened? Nobody is responding.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I read?
Yeah, already read already. We will come in to read again.
Yeah.
I'm saying, is there anybody got anything else? Nobody saying nothing.
Questions or topics, please.
Ah, I don't know.
Prabhu,
Oh,
should I ask? I have a question to ask.
yeah, please. All week I'm
Actually,
here.
Prabhu, actually, Prabhu, there are many situations where I see people blaspheming devotees.
Oh.
Now the thing is, I'm not able to handle it. The problem is I'm really angry because other devotees are offended. And at certain times, when I approach seniors as to how shall I give a befitting reply to them, my seniors tell me you can just ignore them and move on. Block them, report them, ignore them, and move on. Now, Prabhu, I am not able to understand because how do I direct my anger against those offenders in a proper way? Because it's apparently a contradiction for me because I cannot ignore that. Neither can I properly, properly give a befitting reply. So how should I handle this?
So it is explained here in the CC. I think many times we have shown that when blasphemy is happening, this is what we're supposed to do. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking to Amoga, you know. Amoga was offending the Lord. Sarvam Bhattacharya, son-in-law, you know. So when he invited him to come to the house to eat, so he was kind of keeping, he was sitting and keeping a stick in the hand, you know. because you know his son-in-law will come and then he will blaspheme Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know, that way, you know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will get offended. So, what to do? So then, he some or other, he came inside and he saw, and then Bhattacharya ran after him with a stick, you know. This way, you can see here how to deal with the blasphemy of devotees. So these are the ways to deal with it. You want to read this?
Yes, shall I read it, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Prabhu. Hari Bhakti Vilas cites the following quotation from the Skanda Puran concerning the blaspheming of a Vaishnava. Yohi Bhagavatam Lokam. Okay. In a conversation between Markandeya and Bhagiratha, it is said, "My dear king, one who derides an exalted devotee loses the result of his pious activities, his opulence, his reputation, and his sons. Vaishnavas are all great souls. Whoever blasphemes them falls down to the hell known as Maharaurava, accompanied by his forefathers. Whoever kills or blasphemes a Vaishnav, and whoever is envious of a Vaishnav or angry with him, or whoever does not offer him obeisances or feel joy upon seeing him, certainly falls into a hellish condition." Also, the Hari Bhakti Vilas gives the following quotation from Dwaraka Mahatmya. In a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, it is said, "Those sinful people who blaspheme Vaishnavas, who are all great souls, are subjected very severely to the punishment offered by Yamraj." In the Vedic literature, we find the following statements concerning the blasphemy of Lord Vishnu and his devotees. Those who criticize Lord Vishnu and his devotees lose all the benefits accrued in 100 pious births. Such persons rot in the Kumbhipaka hell and are bitten by worms as long as the sun and moon exist. One should therefore not even see the face of persons who blaspheme Lord Vishnu and his devotees. Never try to associate with such persons.
You can
In his
see
book,
here, huh? One should not even see his face, or, you know, and never try to associate with such person. See?
if one does not immediately leave upon hearing the Lord or the Lord's devotee blasphemed, he falls down from devotional service. Similarly, Lord Shiva's wife Sati states in Srimad Bhagavatam, "If one hears an irresponsible person blaspheme the master and controller of religion, he should block his ears and go away if unable to punish him. But if one is able to kill, then one should by force cut out the blasphemer's tongue and kill the offender. And after that, he should give up his own life."
This is how to deal, no? If you cannot, then you just block your ears and go away. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
But if you can, then of course you can always try to counter argument, you know. Just like now, I think saw very recently that Nimai Prabhu has made one video against somebody who was speaking bad about me and the ISKM, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
So he dealt with him, you know, very sternly. So
Yes, Prabhu.
preaching and explaining all the points.
Yes, Prabhu.
So we have a problem with some people who are always trying to smear our, you know, blaspheme our, myself particularly, correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So the Facebook,
Especially, I mean, when I said Vaishnavas, I almost specifically noted to you.
so what to do, no? You may try to report, they may block the person, but then they will use another name and come back again.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So what to do? That's why we have recently started this My Realization, and all devotees are writing their realizations, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Have you seen that column?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. The more and more I read those, my faith actually is increasing, because so many devotees are giving a testimony of the fact that they have personally realized, we being with such a senior devotee, because I have never have had your personal association. So in fact, reading those gives me an assurance.
That's one thing, but another thing also, that by writing all this realization, it nullifies the whoever is writing the same garbage all the time, no?
Absolutely, yes.
So that's why we are asking all devotees to participate in that, so that the more and more they write their realization, we're not asking them to make up stories, but whatever they have realized, especially those devotees
Yes.
who have interacted with me, So you
Yes,
can always say something. So that is going to, like you say, you are looking forward to reading that column, no?
absolutely.
Mm. So everyone is telling their experience. So this is how all of you also, as you say, your enthusiasm increases, and you also have more faith, So this will
Yes, Prabhu.
counteract this negative thing that is coming. If so many people are saying so many good things, how can there's one person who's, recalculating the same thing over and over again, no? Correct?
Spewing poison.
People who are new may be astounded, but I think those who are serious devotees, they will
Will not be.
eventually not bothered, no?
Especially after I saw Nimanitha Prabhu was very, very angry, very, very like angry. Like he was almost red in his face when he was making that video. And the other video in the past when Prabhu had made against this Bhakta David, in both these videos, Prabhu was really angry, because so that's how that's how I actually get a feeling, no. That's how I see. That's where I see my role model. How to be angry against those who offend Vaishnavas.
Yeah, because Hanuman was very angry, with Ravana. So
Yes.
one should exhibit his anger on the non-devotees.
Yes, Prabhu.
Nityananda Prabhu was offended. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to kill him, Jagai and Madai.
Yes, Prabhu.
So Prabhupada said, when the devotees are blasphemed, one should definitely stand out and speak out, and try to nullify the offender. That's our duty, actually. Cannot sit quiet and, oh, it's okay, it's not my problem anyway. If we think like that, then we also will be implicated.
Implicated.
Yes?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
So we should be careful. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. Says here, no, just now we read.
Yeah. If one does not immediately leave upon hearing the Lord or the Lord's devotee blasphemed, he falls down from devotional service.
Right? I sometimes see that some of the devotees have got their friend thing inside this person's list,
What is it, Prabhu?
Maybe they don't know, that this person is a friend in their friend list in the Facebook.
Yes.
Or this person may have friend requests, and then you give the friend request not knowing who it is, and then the person enters into all your friends, and that way the news goes to everybody, Understand? Because they don't know, how the Facebook works. They thought everybody is friending everybody, and this is what happens, You
Yes,
follow?
Yes.
So they should be taught, no, how to block a person. If they block the person, they should also block their entry to all their friend circle, you know.
Yes, Prabhu.
You understand me?
Yes.
So anyway, for now, what to do? I think the best thing we can do is, at least, you know, if everyone can write their realization, that will be a big help.
Absolutely.
Hmm?
Yes, Prabhu.
What to do? Facebook is thriving on this kind of a blasphemy, you know. Correct?
All, yes, Prabhu. Keyboard warriors.
Hmm. So what can we do? Of course, you have good intentions, but the world is such that only blasphemers will survive, no? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Kali Yuga, no?
I had shared, yeah, I had shared Nimanita Prabhu's video on Bhakti Vikas Swami on Facebook, and there were in fact 2-3 comments upon blaspheming you. So I immediately just deleted those comments. At least from my view, I deleted those comments and I reported those comments also. That he's giving
But
false claims.
he's writing about Ritvik. What has that got to do with me?
Exactly. No, Prabhu. The point is somehow they want to twist and they deliberately want to get it to your point. Because anything we mention about ISKM, they just want to mention, he did this, he's doing that. They did this in the past. And then it's all false claims.
I never did all those things. They're just accusing me.
Exactly, Prabhu. Like I have also heard from other devotees. It's very clear to me actually, but I don't know why intentionally they want to drag ISKM down, or I don't know why. Simply digging their
No
own grave.
problem. I mean, I accept all these things. I am a rascal. I accept it. I mean, anyway, I'm a rascal. So you are not rascal. You are sane. Why don't you preach?
Again, if I type out a proper reply, and then again there will be another one, and then again, they will not understand, and they will go further and further. So actually, I tried to give a proper reply to one person, and then I approached a senior devotee. I approached Nimai Prabhu how to answer this particular thing in this way. Prabhu just told me to block him and ignore. In fact, other senior devotees have mentioned to me the same thing, because there's no point in speaking to them. They will not understand. They don't want to understand. They deliberately don't want to understand. They just want to keep on spreading this poison.
They like that, no? What to do? At least I'm giving them some work to do. Yeah.
They're just digging their own graves. I'm feeling really sad by seeing all that.
One sense is good for me, because when someone is innocent and you blaspheme them, all your piety goes to the person, no? So whatever they are doing, all right, they are assets coming to me. I have at least some.
That's a very different way of looking at it, Prabhu. Really, I admire that a lot.
Let them say, what to do. Correct.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, where he said was that if anyone blasphemes, a piety comes to us.
I think Prabhupada said that. I have to look up and find for you. If
Okay,
you
Prabhuji.
accuse a person wrongly, then your asset goes to him, no?
Okay.
Then you got to be careful when
wonderful.
you try to blaspheme people, You understand?
It's so nice, Prabhuji. Then everybody do the same, so we will be getting so many. I mean, whatever they do.
No problem for me. You say anything you like. I'm going on with my work. I'm doing this for the past almost 47 years. In fact, we are growing more and more. So understand?
Undoubtedly.
What they can do, this Prabhupada always say the dogs will bark, the caravan will pass, no? You just have to become very, I would say, see this verse, this is what the verse says, here. This is how we should look at it. This is the verse we should try. You can read?
Should I read, Prabhu?
Yes. When a person realizes you, he no longer cares about his good and bad fortune arising from past pious and sinful acts. Since it is you alone who control this good and bad fortune, such a realized devotee also disregards what ordinary living beings say about him. Every day he fills his ears with your glories, which are recited in each age by the unbroken succession of Manu's descendants, and thus you become his ultimate salvation.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We got so much work to do. We just preach, and there's so many wonderful devotees. Why worry about this few? Actually, they are very few. Correct?
Yes,
Very
Prabhuji.
few, but they spend most of their time by making a wider outreach.
What they can accomplish, you think they're going to have a huge following and people are all going to leave us and go there? I don't think so.
No, that is not going to happen.
Correct?
Yes.
So we go on with our work, we try to expand more and more. Of course, new people will be disturbed hearing for the first time. After some time, they become callous to the whole thing, no? Because you cannot go and shut their mouth. That's not possible. If you take legal action, they will call the person, they will close him, tell him not to do and this and that. Then he will start again with another name. How you going to stop? Again, take another legal action. How long you want to carry on this thing? Correct? So let us wait for Krishna to take its own, to give the reaction. As we read this now, person who does something like this is definitely not in the good books of Krishna. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So dues will definitely come, just like the story of the devotee blaspheming Haridas Thakur, Do you know the story?
Ramchandra Khan, Prabhu?
Not Ramchandra Khan, it is Haridas Thakur, that Brahmin. He was speaking against Haridas Thakur. And then Haridas Thakur tried to talk to him, he didn't listen. And he was saying, whoever speaks the wrong thing, his nose will fall down, And next 3 days time, this person got leprosy. And his whole nose, he had a very nice looking nose. His nose kind of became diseased, no? You understand? So
Yes, Prabhu.
therefore, we cannot try to blaspheme, it doesn't help you. So try to understand this are all things there in the scriptures. It may not act on you now, but it will come and catch up with you. Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So you try to know how dangerous it is to blaspheme devotees. The moment you blaspheme devotees, then your spiritual, what do you say, progress is checked. And immediately material desires will manifest in the heart, no? Right? So therefore we have to be very careful, So here, this is the story here, you can see. You can read here. One 190. Not Madhya. So you can read this one.
At the house of Hiranya and Govardhana, Madara, a person named Gopala Chakravarti, was officially the chief tax collector. This Gopala Chakravarti lived in Bengal. His duty as chief tax collector was to collect 1,200,000 coins to deposit in the treasury of the emperor. He had handsome bodily features and he was learned and youthful, but he could not tolerate the statement that simply by glimpsing the awakening of the Lord's holy name, one can attain liberation. Vaishnavas strictly follow the directions of the Shastras regarding how one can be liberated simply by a slight awakening of pure chanting of the holy name. Mayavadis cannot tolerate the statements of the Shastras about how easily liberation can be achieved. For, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, impersonalists must work hard for many births and only then will they perhaps be liberated. Vaishnavas know that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord offenselessly, one achieves liberation as a byproduct. Thus, there is no need to endeavor separately for liberation. Srila Bilvamangala Thakur has said, Mukti Swayam Mukulitanjali Sevate Smanaha. Liberation stands at one's door, ready to render any kind of service if one is a pure devotee with unflinching faith and reverence. This the Mayavadis cannot tolerate. Therefore, the Arinda Pradhana, chief tax collector, although very learned, handsome and youthful, could not tolerate the statements of Haridasa Thakura. This young man, Gopala Chakravarti, became very angry upon hearing the statements of Haridas Thakura. He immediately criticized him. O assembly of learned scholars, he said, just hear the conclusion of the emotional devotee. After many millions upon millions of births, when one is complete in absolute knowledge, one still may not attain liberation. Yet this man says that one may attain it simply by the awakening of a glimpse of the holy name. Haridasa Thakura said, why are you doubtful? The revealed scriptures say that one can attain liberation simply by a glimpse of offenseless chanting of the holy name. For a devotee who enjoys the transcendental bliss of devotional service, liberation is most insignificant. Therefore, pure devotees never desire to achieve liberation. My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness, including even Brahmananda, to be like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Gopala Chakravarti said, if one is not liberated by Namabhasa, then you may be certain that I shall cut off your nose.
So this is the challenge he is making, you know. See how he is talking offensively to Haridas Thakur.
Then Haridasa Thakura accepted the challenge offered by Gopala Chakravarti. If by Namabhasa liberation is not available, he said, certainly I shall cut off my nose. All the members of the assembly who had heard the challenge were greatly agitated and they got up, making a tumultuous sound. Hiranya and Govardhana Madara both immediately chastised the Brahmana tax collector. The priest named Balarama Acharya also chastised Gopala Chakravarti. You are a foolish logician, he said. What do you know about the devotional service of the Lord? The philosophy enunciated by the Mayavadis is called Ghata Patiya, pot and earth philosophy. According to this philosophy, everything is one. Such philosophers see no distinction between a pot made of earth and the earth itself, reasoning that anything made of earth, such as different pots, is also the same earth. Since Gopala Chakravarti was a Ghatapatiya, logician, a gross materialist, what could he understand about the transcendental devotional service of the Lord? You have insulted Haridasa Thakura. Thus, there will be a dangerous position for you. You should not expect anything auspicious.
So this is the thing, no? When you blaspheme a great devotee, there will be a very dangerous position. You should not expect anything auspicious. See?
Then Haridasa Thakura got up to leave, and the Madaras, the masters of Gopala Chakravarti, immediately kicked him out and dismissed him from their service.
So immediately he got kicked out, no? See? And dismissed from the service.
With all the members of the assembly, the two Majumadaras fell at the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was smiling, however, and he spoke in a sweet voice. None of you are at fault, he said. Indeed, even this ignorant so-called Brahmana is not at fault, for he is accustomed to dry speculation and logic. One cannot understand the glories of the holy name simply by logic and argument. Therefore, this man cannot possibly understand the glories of the holy name. All of you may now go to your homes. May Lord Krishna bestow his blessings upon you all. Do not be sorry because of my being insulted. From this statement by Haridasa Thakura, it is understood that a pure Vaishnava never takes anyone's insults seriously. This is the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. A Vaishnava is always tolerant and submissive like trees and grass. He tolerates insults offered by others, for he is simply interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord without being disturbed. Then Hiranyadasa Majumadara returned to his home and ordered that Gopala Chakravarti not be admitted therein. Within 3 days, that Brahmana was attacked by leprosy, and as a result, his highly raised nose melted away and fell off.
See the reaction? 3 days. His nose fell off.
The Brahmana's toes and fingers were beautiful like golden colored champaka birds, but because of leprosy, they were all withered and gradually melted away.
See that?
Seeing the condition of Gopala Chakravarti, everyone was astonished. Everyone praised the influence of Haridasa Thakura and offered him obeisances.
Okay? See, blaspheme a great devotee, this is what Krishna does.
Although Haridasa Thakura, as a Vaishnava, did not take seriously the Brahmana's offense, the Supreme Personality of Godhead could not tolerate it, and thus he made the Brahmana suffer the consequences.
So that
a characteristic of a pure devotee is that he excuses any offense by an ignorant rascal. A characteristic of Krishna, however, is that he cannot tolerate blasphemy of his devotees. The characteristic of a Vaishnava and the characteristic of the Lord mentioned in this verse are very significant. In his Sikshashtaka 3, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught the characteristics of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava strictly follows this principle of being humbler than the grass and more tolerant than a tree, expecting no honor from others, but offering honor to everyone. In this way, a Vaishnava is simply interested in chanting about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. and glorifying him. Haridas Thakura epitomized this foremost order of Vaishnavism. Krishna, however, cannot tolerate any insults or blasphemy against a Vaishnava. For example, Prahlad Maharaj was chastised by his father, Hiranyakashipu, in so many ways, but although Prahlada tolerated this, Krishna did not. The Lord therefore came in the form of Nrisimha Deva to kill Hiranyakashipu. Similarly, although Srila Haridasa Thakura tolerated the insult by Gopala Chakravarti, Krishna could not. The Lord immediately punished Gopal Chakravarti by making him suffer from leprosy. While instructing Srila Rupa Goswami about the many restrictive rules and regulations for Vaishnavas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has very vividly described the effects of offenses at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Offending or blaspheming a Vaishnava has been described as the greatest offense, and it has been compared to a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it ruins all the creepers, flowers, and trees. Similarly, if a devotee properly executing his devotional service becomes an offender at the lotus feet of his spiritual master or another Vaishnava, his devotional service is spoiled. Haridasa Thakura was unhappy when he heard that Brahmana Gopala Chakravarti had been attacked by leprosy. Thus, after informing Balarama Acharya, the priest of Hirana Majumadara, he went to Santipura, the home of Advaita Acharya. Upon meeting,
so you can see how the Brahmana he offended, and as a result, the reaction he got.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So therefore, we should be very careful. Sometimes Krishna creates situations like that so that the other devotees can learn, what this is very dangerous. There's nothing auspicious will happen when you start doing this kind of work. Correct? He got dismissed from his work, lost his job, and then 3 days later, his beautiful body, the nose fell off, leprosy, hands and all the nails all became blackened. And especially when you get leprosy, nobody will go near you. Correct?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's very dangerous to do this kind of thing. So of course, we have no qualms what they want to do, but we carry on our work, no? Yes. So okay, is that explain the matter? Who Subramaniam, is it?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Clear, huh?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
So he has a question. Srila Prabhupada said that devotional service is individual, voluntary and spontaneous. Prabhupada said, yes, devotional service is individual, voluntary and spontaneous. But to come to of course, it's individual. Everybody is a spirit soul. And everybody is by constitution servant of Krishna. That is his constitutional position to serve Krishna. Yes. It says that Jivere Swarupo Hoy, Krishnere Nitya Das. That is the constitutional position of the Jiva is to serve. Is it not? So that is something that everyone has forgotten. So the individual position is to become servant. Correct? So when you forget that and you try to change that position instead of becoming servant, then you get into a lot of trouble, you know. So you can see here, Jivere Swarupo Hoy Krishnere Nityadas. See, that is the position of the living entity. Yeah. The living entity cannot become master. That's not possible, you know. The living entity, here you can see this verses explain here. The living entity cannot become master at any point of the time. See here, you want to read this?
Yeah, actually, Anandini Mataji, if you would like to read, please.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal in all respects are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion.
So this is the point. So we are all individuals. That's also said by Krishna, you know.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita, correct? So here Krishna says, Natvaham Jaturnasham, Natvame Nime Jana Dipaha, Nachaiva na Bhavishyamaha Sarvabhayam Ataha Param. See this? We are individual. Can you see this? Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any one of us cease to be. So we are always individually, because we're spirit soul. And we are, our position is servant of Krishna, and also we are part and parcel of Krishna. Mamayangsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha mama sastrendriya manaha sastrendriyani prakriti sthana karshati. You see this? The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So eternally we are part and parcel of God. Our individuality is there as tiny spirit soul, 10,000 tip of a hair. We cannot change that position. So what we are trying to do in this material world is that we are trying to not accept this position as an individual and servant of God. So therefore we are covered by Maya. Because of discovering of Maya, we are practically, struggling so hard, this is says here, because we are covered by Maya due to this conditioned life. They are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So the moment you don't accept this position as individually servant of Krishna, then we become conditioned, and then our struggling, our suffering starts, miseries. This is what individuality is all about. And individuality cannot be taken away, because these guys, these Mayavadis, they say that you become one with God. They say that we give up this individualism. That's not possible. We will be eternally individual, past, present, future. Understand? Even we go to the Brahman effulgence, we hang in there, we still hang in as a little spark. It's not that we merge and become completely, homogeneous. No, that's not the fact. It's explained here. Explain also in that previous verse. So try to understand our individualism. They're very important. And everybody is individual, not only you or me or everyone, the plant, the tree, all the souls that are there, they all are individual. Because that is the special quality of the soul. It's very unique in the sense that it is God. It is individualism. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
And voluntary, yes? Voluntary. What is the next one? Is this? Spontaneous. Okay, voluntary. So that's another point here. Voluntary. Voluntary means that we have a choice. So this is our voluntary thing, where we are. Oh, sorry, it's here. So this is what our voluntary, it's all voluntary in the sense that you are given choice. The living entity by nature is minute independence to choose his own good or bad fortune. So this is voluntary. He's given choice. Whether he wants to surrender to serve the Lord voluntarily. Krishna doesn't influence him that. He's given him that choice, voluntary choice. Whether he wants to voluntarily love the Lord or he wants to voluntarily go the other way and suffer. So that is his choice, voluntary. Krishna does not force someone to surrender, no. Krishna has given his free will, minute independence. So if he's intelligent, he will try to surrender to the Lord and do some, come back to his constitutional position. But he doesn't want to surrender to the Lord and he wants to become independent, then the consequence is also there. As Krishna says, if you don't listen to me, then you will be lost. Because Krishna's Maya is very powerful. Krishna's Maya is not lightweight. That's why Prabhupada always add the word, the stringent laws of the material nature does not care for anybody. Even if a child touches the fire or a grown-up person touches the fire, it will burn. It will burn. They will not excuse just because a child touched the fire. There's no such thing. So therefore, if we try to misuse our position and try to go with Maya, then the consequence is going to be very, very drastic. You know, as the Lord says, if we don't want to surrender, hmm? Hmm? No one is dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor is anyone his enemy or friend. But he gives inspiration to those who have not forgotten him and destroys those who have. So, you want to go voluntarily to the Lord, or you want to suffer the consequence of trying to become independent from the Lord. That choice is given voluntary. Whether you want to come out of Maya or you don't. Volunteer, your choice. And spontaneous. Spontaneous can only happen if you get into spiritual life and love the Lord, then yes, you know, spontaneously you build up your loving relationship and you want to do it because it's blissful. But if you want to spontaneously go into Maya and neglect all these things, then it's going to be a drastic consequence. Spontaneously you do sinful activities, owing to bad association or by becoming completely covered by the mood of correct, you see here, spontaneously if a human being is engaged in sinful religious activity because of bad association or because of failure to control his senses, he spontaneously he want to go this way, then the consequence is going to be very bad. Then such a person will certainly develop a personality full of material desires and thus become miserly towards others, greedy and always anxious to exploit the body of woman. And when the mind is so polluted, one becomes violent, aggressive, and without authority or Vedic injunction, slaughters innocent animal for sense gratification, worshipping ghosts and spirit. The bewildered person falls fully into the grip of unauthorized activities and thus goes to hell. When he receives a material body infected with the darkness mode of nature in such a degraded body, he unfortunately continues to perform inauspicious activities that greatly increase his future unhappiness. Therefore, he again accepts a similar material body. Then what possible happiness can there be for one who engages in activities inevitably terminating in death? This is the spontaneous thing to go into Maya. So if you go into this direction, then the consequence is going to be very bad. Yes? But if you take up this devotional service, and if you get into the spontaneous love, that means you perform this Raganuga Bhakti. Then you see how you become rightly situated, spontaneously engaging in service, Serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes. Then everything falls in place. But if you don't want to do this, then the consequence is going to be very bad. Yes. So spontaneous loving service is of 5 kinds, One is relationship as a servant. So this is the spontaneous love. This is spontaneous love here. My dear Sanatan, I have now in detail described devotional service according to the regulated principle. Now hear from me about spontaneous devotional service and its characteristics. So spontaneous devotional service, the original inhabitants of Vrindavan are attached to Krishna spontaneously in devotional service. Nothing can compare to such spontaneous devotional service, which is called Raga Tagatmika Bhakti. When a devotee follows in the footsteps of the devotees of Vrindavan, his devotional service is called Raganuga Bhakti. When one becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, according to one's natural inclination to love Him and is fully absorbed in thoughts of the Lord, that state is called transcendental attachment, and devotional service according to that attachment is called Ragatmika or spontaneous devotional service. The primary characteristic of the spontaneous love is deep attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Absorption in thought of Him in marginal characteristic. Absorption in thought of Him is a marginal characteristic. Thus, devotional service consists of raga. Deep attachment is called ragatmika, spontaneous loving service. If a devotee covets such a position, he is considered to be the most fortunate. Now, we can get into this Raganuga Bhakti, is considered very fortunate. If one follows in the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrindavan out of such transcendental covetousness, he does not care for the injunctions or reasonings of the Shastra. That's the way of spontaneous love. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that a devotee is attracted by the service of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, namely the coward man, Maharaj Nanda, Mother Yasoda, Radharani, the gopis, the cows and the calves. And one devotee is attracted by the service rendered by an eternal servitor of the Lord. This attraction is called spontaneous attraction. Technically, it is called Swarupa Upalabdhi. The stage is not achieved in the beginning. In the beginning, one has to render service strictly according to the regulated principles set forth by the revealed scriptures and the spiritual master. By continuously rendering service through the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, one's natural inclination is awakened, gradually awakened. And this is called spontaneous attraction or Raganuga Bhakti. An advanced devotee situated on the platform of spontaneity is already a very expert in shastric injunction, logic, and argument. When he comes to the point of eternal love for Krishna, no one can deviate him from that position, either by argument nor by shastric evidence. An advanced devotee has realized his eternal relationship with the Lord, and consequently he does not accept the logic and arguments of others. Such an advanced devotee has nothing to do with the sahajas who manufacture their own way and commit sins by indulging in illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling, if not meditating. Sometimes the sahajas imitate advanced devotees and live in their own whimsical way, avoiding the principles set down in the revealed scriptures. Unless one follows the six Goswamis, Sri Rupa Sanatan, Raghunath Bhatta, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta, and Raghunath Das, one cannot be a bona fide spontaneous lover of Krishna. In this connection, Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bujhaba Se Yugala Priti. The Sahaja's understanding of the loving affairs between Radha and Krishna is not bona fide because they do not follow the principle laid down by the six Goswamis. The illicit connection and the imitation of the dress of Rupa Goswami as well as the avoidance of the prescribed models of revealed scriptures will lead them to the lowest regions of hell. These imitative sahajas are cheated and unfortunate. They are not equal to advanced devotees. Paramahamsas, debauchees and Paramahamsas are not on the same level. Devotional service in spontaneous love is vividly expressed and manifested by the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Devotional service that accord with their devotional service is called Raganuga Bhakti, or devotional service following in the wake of spontaneous loving service. So here you can see an advanced devotee realized devotee hear about the affairs of the devotees of Vrindavan in the mellow of Santaraj, Dashyaraj, Sakyaraj, Vatsalyaraj, and Madhuryaraj. And he become inclined in one of these ways, and his intelligence becomes attracted, and that he begins to covet the particular type of devotion. When such covetousness is awakened, one's intelligence no longer depends on the instruction of the Shastra, revealed scripture, on logic and argument. So, fact, when you got Krishna, you don't care of anything else. So you can see, I tried to explain individualism, voluntary thing, and also spontaneity. Of course, these things are also there. The Mayavadis try to relinquish their individuality by merging with God. The so-called karma yogis, they want to enjoy the karma, they want to enjoy their individuality by denying the existence of God, so they can enjoy their senses. The Mayavadis, they try to merge with God, to relinquish their individuality. And of course, the devotee, they are interested in coming to the proper perspective of using their individualism as rightfully a servant of Krishna. So that is individuality. And voluntary, yes, you're given choice. You want to misuse or you want to surrender, that's voluntary, you know. Independence. And of course, spontaneity. If you want to go and be with Maya, then you lose everything. Maya covers you, and you have to suffer repeated birth and death. That is your spontaneity with Maya. On the other hand, if you come to Krishna, you come back to your original position, either as a servant or you as a Santarasmin neutral. You see Lord as great, very, transcendental personality. Then you have relationship as servant, relationship as friend, relationship as a parent, and relationship as either a married situation or loving situation as the gopis. So all these 5 kinds of relationship are there. So your choice, whichever way you want to go, these 3 things will always be there. So better to become Krishna conscious and save ourselves from so many problems. to give up our false ego. Our false ego is what that's giving us all this, breeding ground of so many doubts. That's the false ego. Surrender to pure devotee is the solution. Yes. Have I explained that?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. So one more question. Huh? Prabhu, my question is how to deal with laziness. How to ensure that it doesn't come in our service. So how to stay, we'll say, enthusiastically active. So that we have discussed. If you seriously perform your spiritual program, the morning program especially, then you will come to the mode of pure goodness. So when you come to the mode of pure goodness, you will be free from the mode of passion and ignorance, especially the mode of ignorance. It promotes laziness, This ignorant thing promotes laziness. You can see here. That's why Krishna warned us, you steer away from the mode of passion and ignorance. Because this passion and ignorance, they bring about all these bad qualities. Intolerant anger, stinginess, speaking without scriptural authority, violent hatred, living as a parasite, hypocrisy, chronic fatigue, quarrel, lamentation, delusion, unhappiness, depression, sleeping too much, false expectation, fear. And you can see this word. What is that? Laziness. Consider the major qualities of the mode of ignorance. So when you go into the mode of passion and ignorance, then all this thing will come. That's why we want to stay away from this. Then we must very, very strictly follow the morning program so that this mode of passion and ignorance will not enter into our consciousness. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
So that's why morning every day, we must wake up, and every day we must do. That way we will become free. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
So you don't want to do this, and then you want to become spiritually what? Huh? How does that will work? So the moment you become strong spiritually, then all the good qualities manifest. Pertain to material intelligence, not to spiritual. By development of material goodness, one can conquer the mode of passion and ignorance. By cultivation of transcendental goodness, one may be free. One may free oneself even from material goodness. So to come to the transcendental goodness, you must practice this morning program.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, then you won't become lazy. You cannot become lazy because it says here, once you go above the mode of goodness, then you always, Bhagavad Gita, correct? When you become Brahma Bhuta, Prasnatma, then you are no more lazy. Na sochite, na kanchite, samaha sarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhakti labate param. One who is first transcendentally situated, one realizes Supreme Brahman and become fully joyful. Where's the question of becoming lazy when you're joyful? He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to a living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So when he comes to that stage of actually getting enlivened, then you see Krishna sitting in the heart. Oh. Krishna sitting in the heart, he makes things very, always engaging the activities of devotional service. Devotees feel ever increasing fresh. Huh? And new in all activities. They feel everything is fresh, increasingly fresh, not just fresh, increasing. And you also feel everything new, The all-knower, the super soul within the heart of the devotee makes everything increasingly fresh. In other words, if you would want to escape laziness, then you must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the spiritual master. Then you will get the strength, the knowledge and the strength. And not only that, Krishna is in the heart. When you connect with Krishna, then if you are relishing the bliss of being with Krishna, then now you get all these bad qualities. Just like Durva Maharaj, the moment he saw the Lord, he said, I don't want anything anymore. Finish. I am fully satisfied. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
So that is what we should do. That's why first step is sadhana bhakti, and then getting connected to the spiritual master, one thing after the other thing. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
You cannot fight Krishna's Maya with your own speculation. That's not good. You can only overcome Maya by Krishna's mercy. That we have to understand. Because this Maya is Krishna's Maya. You understand? And this Maya is always trying to attract the living entity. The mind naturally gets attracted to Maya. This is how it's made. So in order to protect, we must take up the Krishna conscious process with the help of our spiritual master. Only then you can overcome Krishna's Maya. And Maya, laziness, you saw, that's the last thing in a mode of ignorance. You can't lazy, lethargic, no mood, tired. Huh? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Symptom. So we have to be very alert. Huh?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu, it's very clear.
Any other questions? All right, so we will stop here, I guess. Huh? Anybody else have got anything else to add? So many of you are here.
How Prabhupada's passport look like?
What is that? Anybody? I'd like to thank all of you participating.
Thank you so much for your association, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
So thank you all for spending your time with us, giving me a chance to speak about Krishna. So please.
Thank you so much for your wonderful association, Prabhu.
So try to understand Krishna
Very
consciousness is
valuable
simple.
indeed.
It's very simple. But if you want to make it complicated, then many problems will come. Correct?
Yes.
So the best thing is to follow the spiritual master very seriously. Whatever he says, and if you don't know, you associate with devotees who are seriously practicing. Then by learning from them, you will also become spiritually strong. Correct?
Yes.
You try to swim alone, it's going to be tough. Huh? Somebody has got something in the chat. Okay. All right. Is there Temple Devotees Association in Pune? So who is this Dhriti? Can you speak? Where are you from, sir? Dhriti?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
You're from Pune?
Yeah, I'm living in Pune currently.
You're staying in Pune, huh?
Yes.
So I think Pavitra, you are there? Pavitra? Hello?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can help this Mataji. She's in Pune. Pune, yeah?
Yes.
How you say?
Yes, Prabhu.
You contact her. You can leave your number behind, Mataji.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Kindly, you can send me personally. Hare
You
Krishna.
can send by, you can take her contact details and try to help her.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Is this your first time?
I've attended couple of sessions before.
Oh, yeah, we attended a couple. Very nice. So you like the sessions?
Yes, Prabhu. And I'm new to.
Very good. So you contact Pavitra. She will guide you more and more. And she will also lead you to all those people who are somewhere in Pune. Is there anybody else in Pune? Pavitra?
One Mataji was also new, but she's new, was asking the number. Was asking contact of another devotee. I can connect them both.
So you connect them both, huh?
Yes.
It'll be very nice for her to have association.
Yes.
And you can guide them also.
Yes, sir.
So yes, any other questions? Any other realizations? I guess everybody is a little shy to speak, huh? Okay. All right then.
Satyam Sharma is attending the first time, Prabhu.
Satya Dharma, huh?
Satyam Sharma, Prabhuji.
Satyam Sharma. Is it first time? Satyam Sharma, Prabhu?
Okay. No, attended earlier as well.
He's been here around, I think. No, I have attended previously also. Oh, so he says he has attended previously. Where is she from? This Satyam, where are you from, Prabhu? You want to unmute? You want to unmute and speak? Huh? Where are you from?
Satyam Prabhu, is it possible for you to unmute and use the mic and share a few words? If not, you can chat.
Currently, I'm living in Hyderabad. Oh, he's from Hyderabad. So he has been attending our sessions quite a bit, huh? So good, at least coming around. Other devotees are there also in Hyderabad. They
Hare
can.
Krishna, Prabhu. He's currently in our youth group for now.
Oh, he's in your youth group, huh?
Yes,
Good.
Prabhu.
Very good. So thank you. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you so much for your association, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Dandavat
Prabhu, for
Pranam.
your
Jai Shri
association.
Prabhupada.
All
Glories to you.
glories to
Glories
all
to
of
Shri
you. All
Prabhupada.
glories to Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining into this program.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Thank you.
I have one question, Prabhuji.
Oh, yes. What's your question?
Prabhuji, I just wanted your guidance. Like when we start reading Srimad Bhagavatam, like can you guide me like how we should like read Srimad Bhagavatam, like what or
Well, the first thing you should read is the Bhagavad Gita. Have you finished the Bhagavad Gita?
yes, Prabhuji, like for once I have read.
Or you read one time, huh?
Yes.
So good, you can carry on reading the Bhagavad Gita again, huh? And now you can start with the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes? You continue reading Bhagavad Gita and then at the same time you read the Bhagavatam. Yes? Hello?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you try to do that, you know. So you take up the first canto and you start reading. And even if you don't understand, never mind, you just carry on reading.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So by and by reading not one time, you know, couple of times, then every time you read, you get some new realizations, you know.
Yes.
So you just have to carry on reading, and what you don't understand or understand, never mind, you just go on. And if you want, really don't understand, you can also ask the devotees, they will be able to help you. There's so many classes going on, no? Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji.
There's Hindi class, there's English class, and there's also, I think most of you are doing classes there, you know, all the devotees, correct? You can join in and ask them. I think you are in Delhi, isn't it? Huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Apparently, my son Mahaprabhu and his wife, they are there in Delhi, you know.
Yes, Pavitra Mataji informed me about that.
You can call them and talk to them also, or go and visit them. They're also in South Delhi, I think, nearby your place.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will make sure that I meet them.
Apparently, I think tomorrow they're having some kind of a program.
Yeah, house program.
So you can go and associate there also.
Yes, Prabhuji.
That'd be nice. You get to see the devotees from Singapore.
Prabhuji. It's very nice to have association of devotees like that.
Yes, since you are in Delhi, very nice. Can take association. If you have time, maybe they are also going to Vrindavan. You can go along with them, you know.
Yes, Prabhuji, I would wish to like, go there.
Sometimes to associate. So, okay, anybody have anything else to add?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your guidances and your association.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I put in the chat box.
Oh, I remember once Prabhu told us that I started reading Bhagavatam. I was thinking I was too smart. You know? When I'm going to Pondicherry, I think
Yes,
you have to help me get my visa, I guess. I don't know. I have to work on my visa and come to Pondicherry.
So
I guess,
we're eagerly waiting to have an association. Especially now that the lockdown has opened up.
Yeah, I guess you have to start trying
opened up travel between India and Singapore.
Yeah. Now everything is becoming eased up. Huh? I have to apply for my visa and try to see how I can come. Huh?
Yes, Prabhu, please do.
So,
we're eagerly waiting.
Yeah, I also have not come to India for more than 2.5 years. 2 years over. Huh? I
Yes,
left
Prabhu.
in
The last time, I mean, what I heard from devotees was that the last time you had come was in 2020.
March,
and that was before I came to ISKM.
Wow, you have been around for 2 years already, huh?
Yes, Prabhu. Almost. Time
Yeah.
flies.
Okay, I'll try to come and take shelter of you.
Prabhu, we
We
need
have
your association.
Huh?
we have Rajveshwar Das Prabhuji attending the session.
Who?
Brajveshwar Das Prabhu.
Where's he from?
Yeah, we'd like to hear Prabhuji. Actually, if you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself, we would be eager to listen to you.
Rajeshwara, huh?
Yeah.
He's not speaking. Hello. He's not talking.
Okay.
Maybe he wants to be. Oh, he's writing. I'm in a public area. Oh, so he can't talk. Where are you from, Prabhu?
Hope you like the session, Prabhu, and you would continue to join.
I can't unmute.
No issues, no problem.
So where are you from? I mean,
Yeah, could just
you can write. Where are you from? From Bangalore. Oh, you're from Bangalore. Oh, very nice. So you
Thanks,
can, yeah, Bangalore. This is the first time you're on this class? Oh,
okay.
first time is coming. So thank you for joining in. Maybe you can leave your number. We can get devotees to talk to you when you get the time. Couple of devotees are from Bangalore here. You can contact them. I think who is from Bangalore here? Sanatan. Who else?
Oh, Pavitra Mataji has his number. Okay, great.
We do have his number. Okay, good, great then. So okay then, very nice of you joining our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Prabhu.
Thank you.
Any other new person? Pritu is new, huh? Pritu, how are you, Pritu? Pritu just got initiated, eh? Sami Saranpa. Sami Saranpa?
Yes, Prabhu. He's in our youth group. He's from Finland.
From Finland, huh?
Please accept
Yes,
my
Prabhu.
humble obeisances, all practice of Prabhupada.
Oh, he's what, Finnish?
Yes, I'm from Finland.
You are Finnish?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh.
Half Finnish, half Turkish.
Half Finnish, half Turkey, huh?
Yes.
How you like our program?
Yes, it's whole ISKM community is so amazing.
Oh, that's nice. So try to open an ISKM branch in Finland.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
And I hope I can soon come to visit some temples in Singapore, India.
Yes, we'll be very glad to host you. So good, very good. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you.
Very nice. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Oh, what are you doing?
At the moment, working from home and not much.
Oh.
Practicing and reading mostly, and coming to classes and.
Your parents are devotees?
No, Prabhu.
Oh, that's a real problem, huh?
Yes, Prabhu. I haven't been in contact with my parents in many years.
Oh, really? You staying alone now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, then you can become full-time, no?
Yes. I actually stay with my wife.
Oh, you're married?
Yes.
Oh, so that's going to be a little difficult, huh?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, you carry on your householder life and see how you can help spread our ISKM there in Finland. Huh?
Yes, I'll try to do my best.
Then you can keep in touch. Who you keep in touch with?
With the Hare Krishna League with the junior devotees and Ayappa Prabhu. He introduced me to the ISKM.
Very nice. So you can contact, you can contact us. We can see how we can guide you to maybe open a temple there, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
So you leave me your number, then I can call you sometime.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Who has his number? Ayappa, is it?
Yes, Prabhu.
So you please take his number down, and forward it to me.
Sure, Prabhu.
Thanks. So, okay, I guess I have to say goodbye to all of you and try to meet you again as soon as I can. Very wonderful evening. Thank you for giving me some chance to be of some service. All glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.